What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another Cairns Aquarium video. This will be the last one of this aquarium series, so if you're tired of seeing Cairns Aquarium videos, I'm sorry, but we saw so much here and we just had to share it with the world. And we still didn't even cover everything, so please go check out the Cairns Aquarium. It is very, very cool, so much to see. And coming up, I have a couple cool videos coming out of a wildlife animal sanctuary in Colorado, and then also a very cool encounter that me and my girlfriend found while camping out in Utah. So, the podcast coming up, we'll talk about that. So, go ahead and check that out um, and get a little sneak peek into a video that is yet to be released. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get on into this. First up, we have a can't even say this, blue blanquillo, um, or a tilefish. Um, Very cool. Only seen those guys in Honduras, not here yet. And then this little cutie right here is a longhorn cowfish, or Lactoria commuta. He was just kind of chilling above this coral right here. It seemed like this was his little spot, his little throne of coral. That's what it kind of looked like. They're very, very cute. I've only seen boxfish before. I've never seen a cowfish in the wild, but I have seen them in the aquarium trade. So, very cute. Everybody loves cowfish. I have a couple students, wanting to see some cowfish. Next up here, we just have a really, really beautiful tank with some orange band surgeonfish, sorry. Then we have some jaguar cichlids, not cichlids, wrasses. If you remember in the wild side video, we actually saw some of these jaguar wrasses out in the wild. So very, very cool. Those guys right there, I'm not going to tell you the name, but we did touch up on those guys in the last fish Cairns Aquarium video, so go ahead and leave that down in the comments down below for the people who haven't watched that video, or just go ahead and watch that video. But yeah, this tank just had some absolutely gorgeous stony corals and other little anemones of that sort. Next up here, we got some celebrities. We have blue tang, or Paracantharus hepatus, or Dory's. And yeah, love the movie reference. If you've seen Finding Dory, follow the shells on the way home. So you'll love to see it. Next up here, kind of a little bit of an inspiration tank. This was a 90-degree wall tank, so you see that little bend right there. It was actually spreading on two walls. I mean, this tank had to be like 500 to 600 gallons. Absolutely massive tank, probably more than that. Full with beautiful corals, and yeah, just kind of changed my opinion on wall tanks of that sort. Now we're going on to some of the big boys. So Jason's right there for size comparison. Looking derpy as always. And I'm going to try and name off all the species that we have. These next couple clips are from the same tank. So we have flowering cod, we have black tips, reef sharks, and I believe the one coming up here, it's also another flowering cod right there. But there's a tawny nurse shark that I've never seen before. It is that guy right there. Never seen one of those, didn't even know what they were until I had to look it up. And then, of course, cute old cow nose rays. Those big guys right there are black spotted rays, and then there's some spadefish and grunts and stuff like that in there as well. This is the same tank. There was a guy giving a little talk on, I think he was talking about the guitar nose sharks that were in there. But I wasn't really listening because every time I go in an aquarium or fish shop, I just kind of look at them like I know more than you sort of thing. So, wasn't really paying attention, but kind of cocky, I know. One thing that I do want to say about the Cairns Aquarium is that not a lot of their fish looked that healthy, which, weirdly enough, I'd actually much rather prefer that. I'd much rather prefer aquariums to have fish that don't look like they're in too hot of shape, or just looks like that they need some help. Even though it doesn't look as appealing to, just the average person who wants to come into an aquarium and check out some fish, for an experienced fish keeper or somebody who just knows, about keeping fish. I'd much rather have them have sick fish rather than healthy fish, such as a lot of these leopard sharks. They look really chunky. They look ridiculously obese. I think they're just eating well. Like you're never gonna find a leopard shark that's that chunky in the wild. And the reason that I want that is because I don't want them taking animals out of the wild, or supporting uh, like captive breeding big sharks and rays and stuff like that. I'd much rather have them save and help out and cure these fish that are, like they need help. So I'd much rather see that than have them have a bunch of healthy sharks and rays and other big fish. Might have seen that a couple of those blue tangs didn't look too hot as well. Um, yeah, I think they're just mainly rehabilitating them, and then they have a good chance at releasing them back into the wild. Next up here, we have some common lionfish, or Pterois maricata. Every time that I see a lionfish, my tummy grumbles, mainly because they are delicious. I absolutely love eating lionfish. You might have heard me say it a couple times now, but back in Honduras, lionfish are invasive, so we would go out and we would hunt these guys. And I killed, sorry about that, a good amount of them, and we used every single bit of their carcass, such as their skin and spines would be used for jewelry, their meat would be eaten, and then all the inedible stuff for us, I would feed to the tarpon that we would have on the dock. But here in Australia, they are native, so yeah, I guess they're fine here. Every time that I see them on the reef, I give them a little gun hand signal, just because if they were caught lacking in another part of the world, I would eat them. Next up here, we have 3 different species, so I gave you guys a little freeze frame to go ahead and try and find them. If you can't find them, go ahead and just pause the video and see if you can find all 3 species. 2 are pretty obvious, 1 is pretty hard to find. So we'll just go ahead and start off with the most obvious guy right here. This is a cute little hermit crab. Not little, he was maybe as big as my balled up fist. Had very big claws, very, very gorgeous purple spots, and a cool little close-up of their mouth and all their different types of claws and mandibles and stuff. So I need to get an invertebrates book. I know, I'm working on it, just got a fish book. Next up here, we have 2 reef stonefish, or Synacia verrucosa. Sorry, I am working on it. That guy was a cute little one, and then we have like this kind of grandpa looking one. If you can't tell what you're looking at, the face is on the left side, tail's on the right, and that pink fin right there is the bottom. He actually kind of looks pretty cuddly, which is the first time I've ever said that about a stonefish, because if you didn't know, they are highly venomous. Can definitely send you to the hospital. I'm not too sure if they're fatal, but I definitely wouldn't test your luck. And then the last species that was in here, if you couldn't find this earlier, is these 2 guys right up here. So these are blunt slipper lobsters, or Silurides squamosus. They're called slipper lobsters because, well, they kind of look like a slipper. Very, very cool. I've seen 1 or 2 in Honduras. I've not seen any here, but I'm definitely looking out because I love finding those guys. And next up, we have more eels. Eels are kind of like a little front for this channel right now. A lot of eel talk. I love eels. They're so much fun, and especially morays. They're just so cool. They're huge, and there's so much to learn about them. We have a couple different types of species in here, so I'll go ahead and give you guys a challenge and see if you can find out all of them. I believe that these are all Australian morays. And yeah, just very, very cool. Remember, they're blind, so they don't need a huge tank. They'd much rather just go chill up in crevices and, kind of live their lives out waiting to be fed. So this is actually a good tank size for them. They don't need a whole bunch of swimming room because they much rather just be curled up in those rocks. Next up here we have razorfish. These guys are awesome. I absolutely love razorfish. I've seen one pack of them in the wild here in Australia. Haven't seen them anywhere else. Um, they literally are just like, well, they kind of look like just floating around razor blades. Um, they're not deadly at all. I mean, I think all they eat is like tiny, tiny shrimp and zooplankton and stuff, just because of those little spouts on their mouths. I could do a whole video about these guys. They're so cool. Didn't even know what they were until about a year and a half ago. And then lastly, we have seahorses, everybody's favorite. I could also do a video about these guys. There's so much to them, but very, very useless. And that's pretty much going to be it, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching. Uh, this will be the last Cairns Aquarium video. Next up, we'll have a wildlife animal sanctuary video coming out, and then a surprise that I found in Utah. So, thanks again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.